So every trust has different parties in the trust that have different rights and obligations based on their role and what their rights and their obligations are as expressed in the trust instrument. So it's probably a good time for you to start understanding what some of those titles and parties are to a trust. So there's really only 4 or 5. First, we'll start with one that you don't hear much about. It's who are the settlors. And in some states, they call the settlors the grantors or the trustors. But really, the settlors generally are the people who are signing to set up the trust. The settlors may also have other roles, and maybe the settlors, their only role is as the settlor or the person who set up the trust. So we don't talk too much about the settlors. What we do talk a lot about is who are the trustees of the trust. Oftentimes when people say, yeah, I have a trust and I named my daughter Amy as the executor of the trust. Well, that's not the right term. The person who's in charge of managing the trust and following the terms of the trust is called the trustee. Normally in your typical avoid probate trust set up by mom and dad are the first co-trustees. Then perhaps when one of them dies, the surviving spouse is the sole trustee. And it even goes beyond that. So after mom and dad both die, maybe their daughter Amy is the successor trustee to be in charge after both mom and dad die. There may be even another backup and named after their daughter Amy. So the trustee's job, so when mom and dad have a trust and their home is in the trust and the home needs to be sold, mom and dad would do that while they're alive. After one of them dies, the surviving spouse would be the trustee to handle a home sale after they both die. Maybe Amy sells the home out of the trust to disperse the proceeds to the children, perhaps, if that's how it was set up. So trustees are the ones who manage the trust assets. And then you have beneficiaries to a trust, and generally there's 2 kinds of beneficiaries. There are income beneficiaries and there are principal beneficiaries. Income beneficiaries are people who are entitled to the trust income. So mom and dad set up their avoid probate revocable living trust. They're likely to be the income beneficiaries. So if their CDs are in their trust, their stocks and bonds are in their trust, and those things produce some income, interest, or dividends perhaps, then those interest and that income goes to mom and dad because they're the income beneficiaries. They're entitled to receive the trust income. And then there are principal beneficiaries, and typically at a later date, the principal beneficiaries are entitled to receive the trust assets. So maybe in your typical mom and dad avoid probate living trust, maybe the children are the principal beneficiaries, so that when mom and dad die, then the children are entitled to the trust principal, and so hence they are the principal beneficiaries. So there you have it. Most trusts, virtually every trust, has settlors setting up the trust, trustee or trustees with backups who manages the trust assets, income beneficiaries who's entitled to the trust income, and then maybe even successor income beneficiaries, and then principal beneficiaries who's entitled to use the principal at different times as defined by the trust instrument. That'll give you some basics of what are some of the parties to the trust. Now you can get a better understanding, and as you review or have a discussion about trusts, have a much better understanding of who those parties are. Have a great day.